Welcome back to Dubbzi Bricks for another episode of Building Gotham City in Lego. I'd like to say a massive thank you to Klaus from Brickery Builds Lego for all of the donations in the previous videos. It is so appreciated, Klaus, so thank you so much. It really does help with the building of Gotham. I'd like to thank everybody for all of the comments that have been in the previous videos. They have been so helpful with building Gotham, and it just, there are ideas that are coming up that I've never even thought of, and so yeah, I really do appreciate it. I do read every single comment, so please keep them coming. I love reading them, and they are very helpful. Now I'm going to be starting off this update with amending this wall just here. I mentioned in a previous video I want to lower it down by about 4 or 5 bricks, so we're going to lower it down, put a platform going back towards the back of the Wayne terminus, and then build the wall back up to the correct height. I also need to amend the filler brick down the bottom there and replace that with grey bricks. Previously that was going to be covered up by the raised platform coming this way. However, due to the fact we're now having this as a road going down there, I need to make those amendments to that. So yeah, we need to get that sorted as well. Now, I had a comment a couple of updates ago about this wall here saying, was I going to be leaving it just grey? And there is going to be graffiti on this wall, as there will be all over the city. And the reason I haven't put it in yet is I want to get the foundations, the layout all confirmed before I do so. This has changed so much, as you would have seen in the updates, that it's easier for me to spend the time doing the graffiti afterwards than doing it now, only to destroy a wall and redo it. And it won't take much to just remove a few bricks here and there, put the graffiti in, and then build back up above it. It's going to be a lot better that way. Plus, also, I'm still experimenting with brick built graffiti as well. So once I've finalised how I want it to look, all different techniques, I can then order in all of the parts in bright colours and then integrate it into the existing builds. So yeah, that's where we're at on that side of things. So anyway, without further ado, let's start breaking the top of this wall down here and get it looking exactly how we want it. And this section is coming on nicely. I've chopped the brick wall down, I think it was by about 6 bricks in the end. I actually lowered the arches on the inside of it. And what I've done here is on the brick wall, we've got a 6x8 plate coming out, and there are a row of them all the way along, and then a 4x4 plate on the end of it. I've then put another row of plates to connect them all together, row of bricks, then another row of plates, and then some 8x8 plates on the top. So this section here is 4 plates and 1 brick in thickness all the way along, and it is really strong. I can put as much weight as I need to on there, and it is not budging. So really happy with that building technique. Now, when I get up here, I'm going to build the wall, and it's probably going to be 2 studs in width, maybe 3, I'm not sure yet. I need to make sure it's got a lot of strength in that. I'm going to start building the supports out. They're going to be going across to these support beams just here. There'll be a couple that won't have anything at all attached to them. They're just there to help with the downward weight. But yeah, fingers crossed that all works out well. Now, I know I haven't got all of the pieces to go all the way across. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start it off coming out of the wall, then I can carry on building once I've got the pieces that I need. But anyway, let's carry on building this section up just here. I'm going to check back in once we've made some more progress. And I've decided to add some beams into the brickwork here, and it's just to add that little bit more detail. So we've got a plate coming out of here which has got a modified plate on there, which has got the tile on one half and studs on the other. The beam is connected with a bracket piece, and the reason the bracket's on there is just that there's no gap on the end. By putting a plate and a tile on the end of this beam here, I can now put a brick again with another bracket on there, and then there's a perfect fit there. There's no gap at all. So I'm just going to continue that technique all the way along there, just for that added detail. And if I want to, I can just hang a few more bits and pieces from that. And what I'll probably do as well is just put another bracket on top of that, and then that'll stop the beams from coming out that way. Not that they would, as there's no pressure coming from behind, but it does add a little bit more opportunity to put some more details on there. And I've just started prototyping the support beams that will be going along the top, and I'm considering changing these out and using Technic beams. Now obviously I'm using a lot of Technic beams already in both the Tantive and the Onyx Cinder, so it is something that I will need to order in if I do decide to go down that route. I'm going to have to buy bricks anyway. If I use black, it's probably a cheaper way of doing it because these are very often on the pick a brick wall. So I just need to make that decision. But there will be a lot more going across than just the 3 there. And going this way, there'll be several as well. And what I'm going to be doing is doing it so that it's 1 brick and 4 plates thick. So there'll be 2 plates, then the brick, then another 2 rows of plates, and they'll all be staggered so that there's no weak section on there. And it's the same technique as what I've used on this part here, so I'm hoping it's going to be plenty strong enough. Now we've got the 4 support beams just here, and I'm confident that they can take the weight of this end. Over this end, this is the first area where there's going to be any support for the roof. So there's quite a big gap between those 2. But what I might do is I might make it so that the building is more down this end, so this has got a lot less weight on there. So just something I'm thinking about at the moment, but I'm pretty confident that we're not going to have a problem with the strength of this with putting the weight on the top. But as I mentioned several episodes ago, I will put a very heavy weight on here before I start building and just make sure it can take the strain. Now one other thing I need to work on are the top of these pillars here. I've used these arch pieces, tried grey and dark tan, as you can see, but not happy with the look of them. I've put some snot bricks in as well, so I could add some more detail, but again, it's just something about them I'm not 100% happy with. So I'm going to carry on experimenting with the tops of those. But anyway, that's as far as I can go on this section. So what I'm going to do now is start working on this area just here, which is going to be the hospital area. So I just need to start building that up. Progress here on the front of the Wayne Terminus building and the foundations for the hospital. I was able to find out a load more pieces to carry on doing the details along the top there. So I've only got to go, I think, about another 2 rows of bricks higher, and then I can plate that all off. So it's coming along nicely. And I put some snot bricks on there just so I can do some more details on there of some description to give it that real gothic look. So this is the platform for the hospital. I've left a gap here, and that's going to be for an entrance for people that arrive by boat. And I'm just going to have some white walls in there with a door at the end of it. So it's not going to be a lot of details. There's not going to be any rooms in this lower section. It's just purely there for effect. And the same on the front here. There is going to be an entrance again for people that arrive from the lower level. And you'll have the doors that will go through. There'll be a reception and then more doors at the back. But again, obviously, you've got the pillars in the way, so it's just for effect once again. But it's on the top level here. That's where we're going to have all of the detail. And I'll make it so it's modular, so you can take each floor off and then see inside the hospital beds and operating room and things like that. Now with this section here, we're going to have it so this is a pathway that comes along. There'll be some steps that go down, and then there'll be a pathway along here, and that'll be leading, or would have led, to the entrance to the Old Wayne terminal. But as mentioned before, that will be all blocked off. So we'll probably put the same wood panel effect on there as we're going to be doing on the inside. So I've gone as far as I can with this for the time being until I've got to the Lego store to get the white bricks for the hospital. And over on this side of the table, this is where we're going to be having our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Lair. And I'm going to rewatch the film Out of the Shadows this evening. And also there's an extra part on iTunes Extras on the Out of the Shadows where it shows you actually around the lair. So I'm looking forward to watching that as well, just to get some ideas for how I'm going to be building this. Once I've mapped that out, then I can do the support pillars all the way around the rest of it and get that all sorted. Now, I did buy these two sets a couple of years ago, and it was purely for the minifigures. We've got Leonardo and Donatello in this set, along with obviously Splinter, Shredder, and a couple of foot soldiers. Then we got the other two turtles in this set, so it's good to have all four in just the two sets. So looking forward to making these in a moment, just so I can get some more ideas for the build. Obviously the pieces are going to come in really handy, and obviously we've got the minifigures as well. Now, one thing I am wondering about doing here is what level to put this on. Do I want to have it so that the road's up a little bit higher, say by 10 bricks, and then it goes down into the Turtles Lair sort of thing? That way I can have possibly some sewage pipes that are higher up, and then it slides down into the lair. Ideally, this would be lower on the table, but obviously it's a flat table, and yeah, we're just working with what we've got here. But I'm sure we'll come up with some good ideas, or hopefully we'll do, after making these sets up. So let's crack these open and get the sets made and see what we think of the sets. And there the two sets are all made up, and I have to say the minifigures are the highlight of the sets. I think the turtles look absolutely fantastic. Shredder, he looks amazing, as does Splinter. But yeah, those turtles, really glad I've got those in my collection. Each one so unique, and the details on them are absolutely fantastic. So yeah, really glad I got these sets a couple of years ago. In regards to the actual sets themselves, I don't know quite what to think of it. The vehicle is just interesting, is probably the best word to use for it. I've never seen anything like that before, but really looking forward to making my own vehicle for the turtles. Obviously, being restricted to 6 or 7 studs wide on a vehicle, it's going to be interesting to see if I can make something that fits all 4 figures in there. And I am thinking the garbage truck is going to be the vehicle of choice that I make. In regards to the actual lair, again, there's some really interesting details on here and some great pieces. So I'm sure we'll make good use of this set when it comes to making our own turtle lair. So now that I've made this, I've still got to watch the extras on Apple to give me a good idea of some of the features I might not have necessarily noticed when watching the films. But yeah, once I've done that, I'm going to start mapping out where the lair's going to go on here, and then I can start building the rest of the support pillars up behind it. And after watching the extras on Apple, I've now got a rough idea of how I think I want the Turtles lair to look. So what I'm just going to map out the actual area where the different rooms and different sections are going to be. Just give me an idea of the size of that. And then once I've done that, I'll check back in and just show you how I think it's going to come out. And we've started the mapping out of our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle lair here. And I think I've got it roughly how I want to have it. This is loosely based off of the lair that you see in the Out of the Shadows film. I'm using that for inspiration, I suppose, is the best way of putting it. But what I need to do is make sure that I fit everything in on this corner of the table that needs to be here. We've got the ramp that's going to be leading to and from the Wayne terminus, so that needs to come up above the lair. We've got the entrance to the Rock Effect Batcave, which is also going to be in this section. So I need to fit that all in. And at the moment, we've only got this small channel at the back. Now, in the film, there's water that comes out of a pipe that then leads down to the bottom section just here. And I would quite like to have that tunnel effect in here. Now, it's going to be one of those builds where you're just going to have to accept that it's not logically in the right place, as there wouldn't be water coming through here, as you got a train line on the other side of that wall. What I'm considering doing is just pushing this down a little bit. just so I can make a little bit more room at the back here for the back cave. Now, with the tunnel effect here, it's going to be up quite high by the time I finished it, and it's probably going to be very similar height to the raised platform. So what I'm considering doing is actually having it that the road is on the top section just here, and then the road slopes down to the lower level just down here. So that's the way you would get from the lower level to the top, other than from the raised road down the centre. There will be a couple of junctions coming off, so I hope that makes sense. But yeah, that's just something I'm thinking of. And then we'll have the garage at the side there, which is going to have the garbage truck in. So yeah, really happy that I've managed to start mapping this out. It's given me an idea of size. So I think what I'll be doing in the coming updates is just starting to work out where I'm going to put the rock work on here, just do a rough outline of it, make the ramp how I want that to be, and work out exactly how high it's going to come up, how steep it's going to be, and then do an outer wall for that, for it to rest on. And then I know that I can build the lair inside. So yeah, it's going to be good fun trying to get all of this fitted into this small area here. And then once I've got all of that mapped out, I can then do the support pillars for the rest of it. So yeah, exciting times ahead. And the last 3 days have been so much fun. On Friday, I went up to Dublin. My wife was working up there, and I needed to get up there ready to go to the airport on Saturday. So I popped into the Lego store and managed to pick up several pick-a-brick boxes, which we have here. And the majority of this stuff is for the Tantive and Gotham. And it's the first time I've ever seen white snot bricks on the pick-a-brick wall. And it was in one of the containers where it's all mixed bricks. So I literally took every single one that was on there. There was also some white 1x4 bricks, and all of these will be used for the hospital. So it's nice to get those in. Getting low on the 2x8 plate again. So we've wiped them out of that as well. And I think in the bottom here, yeah, it's just some more of the 1x4 bricks. So I was really pleased with that little selection that we had there. I was also able to pick up some of the 1x10 black bricks, and this is all for the support struts, which will be at the top of the Wayne terminus, but also for the support stand for the Tantive. In the next box is pretty much the same again. However, this time we also added some of the 2x4 black plate in there, and some of the white masonry bricks, and also some of the 1x6 in the sand green bricks as well. And again, all of these parts are going to be very useful with the Tantive display stand and the hospital that we're building in Gotham City. Now the next box again had some really interesting pieces in, and it was these round quarter circle bricks, and I've never seen these on the pick-a-brick wall before. So I think they must have had one of those promotions where you build something and these were just leftover parts. So I was happy to pick several of those up. And again, in here it's all 1x4 bricks for the hospital. And then in the final box from Dublin, again, we got some more of the snot bricks, but I've also picked up a load of 2x4 bricks, as I want the stand for the Tantive to be really sturdy, and I think they're going to work out perfectly all the way around the Technic structure. Now, also whilst in Dublin, I went around several shops, and I actually managed to find 6 more of the Wolf Beastmasters, and I must have scanned, it feels like it was 500 odd boxes just to find 6, but yeah, it was well worth it, because obviously I can't see them having many more of those in. On the Saturday, the alarm went off at 4 AM, and it was a trip from Dublin Airport over to Manchester for Bricktastic, and it's the first time I've been to the convention in Manchester, and I'm so glad that I went. The builds that were on display were absolutely phenomenal, as you'll see from these images on the screen now. The building techniques, there were some techniques I've never seen before. I picked up so many great ideas for Gotham, for future builds. The techniques I've never seen before. I was just studying the parts that have been used just to give me ideas of how I can improve my builds going forward. And yeah, it was time well spent, and I was only there for the day, and I wish I was there for a lot longer, because you could spend hours just looking at one build. There was a new Hashima build there, and Hashima I've seen on the YouTube before from American conventions, but I've never actually seen it in person. And this new Hashima was brilliant. Again, the details that were in it were absolutely outstanding, and it was just so, as I say, it was so interesting just to see the part usage that people had used to create some amazing shapes. And I was talking to one of the builders there, and he was showing me the footprint or the framework that they have to work to for the new Hashima, which is the same, I believe, as what they do in America. And you just build onto this platform area, and then that way you know full well that you can take your build along, and it's going to interact with or integrate, in with other people's new Hashima modules as well. So yeah, it was really interesting, and it is something that I would love to attempt one day, is to make my own version of new Hashima, because yeah, the bright colors that you can get in, and the freedom that you would have with design is just fantastic. So yeah, I was really impressed with new Hashima. There were loads of castle builds there. Star Wars was obviously very, very popular, and there was a selection there from what was called Teal Squadron. And again, some of the ships I recognised from the Star Wars universe, and they'd colour swapped out. Other ones I didn't recognise, but they were amazing. And again, it was these sort of builds that I was really noticing the part usage on, how much detail they had crammed into such a small build. And yeah, it really was phenomenal. This building that was in the centre of the display, it was just great, and it made me realise how much I need to improve my brickwork on Gotham City, as there was so much detail in this one struck. Putting more details in, as I've been saying in previous updates, but this is sort of like giving me some more ideas of how to go about giving things like a weathered look and things like that. But with this whole display, it was almost like several little islands, or several platforms on water that was all connected with bridges and things like that. But yeah, the details of the whole build was brilliant, and apparently they were there last year, and it has just grown and grown. So yeah, I can't wait to see what's there next year. Now, probably my favourite build, or one of my favourite builds at the whole convention, was this Resistant Bomber by Inhert, and I'll leave a link in the description below to his Flickr page. And this was absolutely fantastic, and again, I was there staring at this for absolutely ages. Such a nice guy. He was there showing me all of the details of the build. He even had an interior which was great, and yeah, as soon as I got home, I purchased the instructions, as I really want to have this build on display in my Lego room. Now, another build that I thought was amazing as well was by Axidrioid, and it was his Samson from the Avatar film series. And I've seen this again on YouTube before, and I thought it looked good on there, but seeing it in person, again, just being able to get a close up and seeing all of the pieces that he's used to create the angles was, yeah, it was just mind-blowing. And he has had some Halo builds there as well, such as this tank which had a rotating turret. And again, you just look at all of the brackets that he's used in there, modified plates, the cheese wedges, the grill pieces, etc. And yeah, such a talented builder, and I'd highly recommend checking out his channel. He's currently in the middle of building Helm's Deep from Lord of the Rings, and yeah, I can't wait to see that build completed as well, because I'm sure he's going to do an amazing job on that. It was nice meeting Lego Team B for the first time. I've chatted to them online before, but to see their Ninjago build with moving parts on there. So there's these barrels with minifigures in that were moving around on the water, which was using magnets, and it was absolutely brilliant. Not That Sam Smith and Planet Tech, they had a pod racing diorama, and again, that was brilliant watching the pod racing going around. The details of the grandstand from the Tatooine build there was brilliant as well. So yeah, it was great to see that in person. This boat was absolutely fantastic as well, and It was only when I started looking at it closely to see the parts they'd used for the sails, and for me it looked better than using a cloth, as it just had that more Lego feel to it. As I said, it's really nice to go to these conventions and get some great ideas of techniques and what you want to build in the future. There was an amazing Concorde collection, so they used the Concorde Lego set for the inspiration, and then they put different spins on it. And again, with the details, this Geonosis mock, it was so nice seeing the rock work, and the way they built it even made the plates, the Lego plates, look thinner than what a Lego plate is. Yeah, they just crammed so much detail into the rock work. So yeah, that was a very impressive build. Now, the B-Wing from Return of the Jedi, it looked like it was the same size as a Lego sets that you've been able to purchase in the past, but with considerably more detail, as you would expect from a mock. There were Lego art displays on as well. A couple that really caught my eye was this Captain Rex one and this Jurassic Park one. And there was a massive Tatooine display here with the Dark Falcon and Mando on his Rancor. And again, there's loads of things when you're just looking at a build, loads of Easter eggs that you see within there. But it really was a fantastic day out, and as I said, getting to meet several people that I've just chatted to online, meeting them in person was really nice as well. So yeah, can't wait to go back again next year, and if you have the opportunity, I'd highly recommend doing so. There was also a soapbox challenge where you could take your soapboxes along to race them. I did take mine along. It was a last minute build and it didn't go down the ramp very well. It didn't have the best stability, as I hadn't actually tested it, to be fair, which was a bit of a mistake, and it did topple down on the way down, but it was all good fun participating in that competition. Anyway, that's all we have time for. I hope you've enjoyed this update. If you have, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. And if you know anybody else you think would be interested in building Gotham City in Lego, if you could share the channel with them, it'd be much appreciated. Anyway, thanks for popping on by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.